First and foremost with this video, I know that I did not cover everything that you may want to see. I covered all the things that I looked on YouTube and the internet in general, and I wanted to capture the things that weren't shown on other videos. That's what I wanted, so that's what I did. If you have other requests of what you want to see about this weapon, or sorry, this scope, put it in the comments down below and I will do my best to get it for you. Remember that I cannot record on that scope, so everything's got to be through this camera, so it's going to show the lines and stuff, but they're not there through the human eye. So other than that, I hope you're enjoying the video.
Hey everyone, real quick before we get into the actual review of the ATN Thor LT, just wanted to kind of let everyone understand, because I don't want to get a bunch of hate mail about killing predators, etc. So there's 3 stages of protection for our livestock at our farm. My wife and I built a livestock barn last year for our livestock to stay in during the winter, because that is when they lamb, and it just so happens to be the most prevalent time for predators as well. So I guess you could say it's dual purpose. However, they are only in the barn for about 3 to 4 months of the year, so we still need something to keep them safe for the other 8 to 9 months. For now, we'll consider this stage 3 in protection of our livestock, as it's used the least amount of the time in the year. So we also have a livestock guard dog named George. He is used all year, even when the sheep are in the barn. While he is free to roam in order to deter predators, he also does spend most of the night with the sheep, whether on pasture or in the barn. So no matter what time of year it is, whether they're out in the pasture, all year he is with them. So he's not only is he the first line of defense, since he does a very good job to deter predators, but he is also the primary line of offense, as he is with the sheep more than anyone, since my wife and I have to go to work. The downside to the livestock guard dogs is, well, there's really only 3. One, you need more than one of them to be effective at protecting and keeping predators away, as one will chase the predator while the other stays with the flock. Number 2, the other is that they are still able to be attacked by the predators or lured into a trap by them. And number 3 is they don't live forever, which means every 5 to 8 years I need to get replacements that are going to have to be trained by the predecessors. So I want to have an overlap. So at any given time I might have 4 dogs instead of just 1 or 2 that have to be replaced. But overall, they are the main and primary line of defense. We're going to go ahead and consider this stage 1 of the livestock protection. So what do we use to bridge the gap? Or just simply reach out and touch predators to keep them away? We used to have a night vision scope, and we recently bought the ATN Thor LT night vision scope. We've had this scope now for almost 4 months. The downside of this answer, well, it only works when humans pick up the weapon, as it's a tool, and guns can't fire without human interaction since they are an inanimate object. But so since it's not as readily available as a livestock guard dog, but it is still used year-round, even when the sheep are in the barn, because we can address predators that approach the barn. Plus, it doesn't put our livestock guard dogs in danger. So, I mean, it has a lot of benefits to it, and it really bridges the gap between the 2 different layers of protection. But there's lots of reasons why thermal is so useful, and you're going to see in this video, and you're going to see how it's enabled us to keep predators away and do it while being able to clearly identify targets. So even when the targets are mixed in with our sheep, we can still clearly identify them. The night vision is just a very good way and method of doing this. So let's get into the scope and show you all how it works.
Hey everyone, you'll notice it's nighttime. Very good time to test thermal, right? So what I have here is ATN's Thor LT. This is the 4x8 model, and it is very light. I'm going to try to show you on the camera. However, understand that when you try to record, like if you tried to record a TV screen, for instance, with a camera, you know how it makes lines and stuff go through it. You're going to see the same thing when I record it on here. What I will say is that it is very clear. The display, which is I think 160 by 320, is okay. It's not going to be as detailed, so stuff that's farther out, the thermal sensor will pick it up, but it will look like a cow, for instance, at 1,000 yards away, looks like a blob. I know it's cows because I know what my neighbors have. However, if I didn't know that they had cattle, I mean, if it was, for instance, a horse or buffalo, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference at 1,000 yards. But I also don't expect to shoot this at 1,000 yards. I expect to shoot it at about 200, probably 250, up to 450. That's pretty much the longest shot that I'd have to take on my farm, because our house is centrally located in our farm. So this works pretty well for me. When I look out here, and hopefully the camera focuses, I think it's focused. Yeah, you should be able to see all those black dots, the very dark black dots. And those very dark black dots are cattle. Some of them are calves, but majority of them are full-grown heifers. And you can see what I'm talking about. Now, that is 1,000 yards. So from our house to their light is 1,000 yards even. To help give you an idea of how it does at a closer range, I'm going to show you our animals. So we have sheep, and right now they're roughly about, without the rangefinder I couldn't tell you exactly, but they're probably about 200 yards from the house, maybe 250, depending on where they're at in this pasture. So let me go over here. I'll set this up real quick. Find them. Oh, there they are right there. Of course, majority of them are laying down, but the, yeah. Oh well. There's one that's standing up, so hopefully you can see him. I'm sorry, I know this is terrible as far as trying to line this up. I'm doing the best I can, but it's kind of hard. So that one right there is standing up. I can't tell where my reticle's at because I'm looking at a camera screen that's tiny. But that black body right there is a full-grown ewe that's about probably, whoops, they're pregnant right now, so they're probably close to 200 pounds. And that's about 250 yards away. Now I have no doubt in my mind that's what it is. And even if I was looking through the scope and I didn't, I'd have a pretty good idea that it's either a goat or a sheep, either way. And if I couldn't tell clearly, I can also adjust the end on the scope. I can adjust the end to show how clear or fuzzy the picture is. But I just want to give you that idea. Now, the purpose of this specific scope for us is not hunting. We don't hunt predators. What we do is, so our animals are about to start lambing. And so for us, the worst time, or well, I say worst time, the time that we have the most prevalent issue with coyotes and predators or stray dogs is generally in the wintertime. And the reason being is because our lambs, or our sheep rather, are giving birth to lambs. After birth, and then the blood obviously from the birth process itself attracts them. They can smell that. So that is the primary purpose for ours. So I'm not going to take you out and show you a bunch of coyotes because I don't have any that are just readily available. And I'm not going to go out there and sit and look for them. We have livestock guard dogs that bring our attention that something is here, and that is when we attack, or not attack so much, but that is when we assess the situation and figure out what's going on. If it's coyotes or stray dogs, we do shoot them. This tool right here gives me the ability to figure out if it is an actual coyote, if it's a dog, what it is. We had the ATN Excite 5K Pro 4K, and it worked great. It was very, very good. Didn't have any issues with it. The thing that we didn't like about it was the IR, the illuminator, right? If the batteries start getting weak, then, and the batteries are the problem with the IR illuminator. The battery on the scope lasts plenty of time, no issues whatsoever. Same thing with this one. We've had it for a month and I haven't charged it at all. Well, we charged it when we first got it, but I haven't charged it since. And as far as actual hours of use, between showing friends and doing videos like these and getting ready to zero it, probably about 4 hours of use, and the battery still shows over half full. So I am pretty happy with it. But the X-Sight night vision was great, but it just did not give me the detail I needed, because you can see that sheep and coyotes are very similar in size, and the IR illuminator worked great for lighting up the area. However, when the batteries get weak on it, then it gets to a point where all you can really see is their eyes, and if I can see their eyes, that doesn't do me any good, because sheep have eyes too. So what we did was we decided to sell that and buy a thermal. And this thermal, you're going to see here shortly, I'm going to show you how we zeroed it. You're supposed to buy, or you can buy, targets, but ATN also gives you suggestions of using a soda can or a water bottle with hot water in it or cold water to give you an offset of temperature so that you can use it to zero your weapon. I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to use a piece of metal, and I'm going to heat that piece of metal up so I know where, basically I know where I want to hit, and that's where I'll aim. And then once I hit, wherever I hit on the paper rather, that's around that hot metal, I'll line the target, or sorry, the sight, the reticle up on that and get it adjusted. You'll see that here tomorrow. We'll do that in the morning. Just wanted to show you what it was like at night, give you an idea of what you can see, what you can't see. Overall, I really think it is a very good tool, and for the money, I mean, I don't have any weapons that'll reach 1,000 yards anyway, so I don't need to be able to see clearly what it is at 1,000 yards. If you need something like that, this scope is not for you. This scope is for somebody that is going to reach out maybe 500 yards to actually try to shoot something and kill it. If you're reaching out farther than that, this is just not the scope for you, because it's not going to give you the clarity you need to identify an animal that you're going to take and actually have positive identity of it. So stick around. In the morning, we'll go ahead and zero it. All right, so I already zeroed the weapon. I'm hoping I'm looking at the right spot. I can't tell because I'm looking through a tiny camera. But you should see two small black, what would appear to be water bottles, on top of two fence posts down there. That is what I used down here to zero the weapon. So basically, we did it down there just to make sure we have our backstop and everything. However, I brought it up here just to show you guys what it was. So I took this soda can, what's left of it, I lost the string and stuff, but basically I had it tied, and down there I have trees that I can tie stuff to. So I used that, tied it. I'll try to mimic this best I can, but I tied it and set to where the can was hanging right here pretty close to the center. And I did that for two reasons. One, I don't know how far off the zero is from my line of sight. So the concept with this board is that I aim for my, and I marked this so I knew where I was going to try to hang that, and then hung my can so it hung right there where that cross is. Went back, shot, seen where it hit. Went back to the weapon, went to the zeroing feature. You'll hold the black sights, because it'll give you two sights when you go to zeroing. You'll hold your black sight where you aimed originally, and then you'll move the red sight down to where you hit. Then you'll hit OK, it'll zero it, and then that'll be where you should be zeroed at that point. I did that at 25 yards because for an AR, 25 yards, the trajectory of it is very close. So where I hit at 25 yards is the same spot I'll hit at 300 yards, or I mean, it's a little higher, but overall it's really close to where I'd hit, and that's what I want. So did that, went ahead and zeroed it, and then I hung this just by itself from the tree, moved my target out of the way because I didn't want to, in case I needed to use this again, moved that out of the way, and then shot, hit it right away. I mean, it was dead center, good hit. So now we're gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna move those water bottles out farther. I just wanted you guys to see it. I'm not gonna take the camera out there. I'm gonna shoot on video because I want you guys to see, and I'm doing this firsthand. My question is how, because on my X-Sight 4K Pro, it would let me choose the distance that I'm at when I'm shooting, and then therefore it would adjust the sight from there. I want to see how far off it is at like 25 yards, you know, for like, I mean, if you're hog hunting, I guess that kind of, you might be close to them. And then I want to see how far off it is at, say, 150 yards. I just want to see the differences. And we're going to use a water bottle. I know that's a small target. That's the biggest target I got that I can heat. So if you had some sort of thermal targets, you'd be able to test this a little better than I can. But I just want to, I'm going to do this, and I want you all to see it, because I'm very curious as to which ones it's actually going to hit and which ones it's just going to completely. But I want to see, and it might hit all of them, I don't know. I'm just very curious. I just know the trajectory changes a lot, you know, from 25 yards to 150, for instance, and it changes even more from, you know, 25 to 300, for instance, because 25 and 300 is almost spot on, but in between, the round is actually going up for a little while and then starting on its way down. So let me fill these water bottles up and we'll get started. All right, to give you all a reference, from that telephone pole right here by the end of this stack of hay, from there to that fence post where that water bottle is at, is 100 yards with our rangefinder. This right here is 48 yards, but it's the best I can do because I need to be able to see it from there. Same spot from that telephone pole. And I've got a 25 yard setup up here. So we'll go up here. We will start at the 25 yard and we'll go from there. That's our 25 yard target. Keep an eye on it for me. For future reference, I'm aiming dead center on all these. So let's see where it hit. And that hit low. So I was aimed dead center on it, and you can see it hit right here at the very end, or the very low point of the bottle pretty much. So all of our trash right there, because you can see just a little glimmer right there. I'll even point to it on your screen so you can have an idea. It's right about here. We're shooting a 50 yard. All right, they hit that. We'll walk down there at the same time to look at them. Again, aiming dead center on all the targets. So your next target is right about here. Oh, it's really hard to see on this camera screen, but I just thought about this. I should have showed you guys how it looked on the grass. I could see the bottle clearly, but I'm going to show you this one that's out here on top of the fence post. As soon as I line this up here, it's lined up right about there. Again, I can't see much through here. I can see the lines going through. Those lines are not there in real life, or you know, in first person view. That's just because the camera picks that up. And I missed. It's surprising, actually. Got it that time. I probably pulled I'm sure I pulled it on the first one. However, let's walk down there and see, because we aimed dead center on every target. So our first target, which was 48 yards, is right here. Aimed dead center. And for reference, there is a pretty good crosswind. Well, oh, actually, hell, aimed dead center and hit dead center. All right, so, well, that's interesting. Oh, I clipped the edge of it, that's why. So, aimed dead center, which would have been, you know, basically right about here, and I hit about an inch low, and I'm not sure if this was facing this way or this way. I really don't remember, but either way I was off to the side a little bit, which at that point, I mean, I come back out and pick these up anyway. So, you know, I'd say that for the average predator hunter, you're gonna be fine. But those of you that are reaching, you know, 500 plus yards out, I don't know that I'd use this. It definitely has a place here at our farm for predator control, and I think it has a place in the hunting world for predators too. I just don't know that if you have more than average weapons, you know, and if you're spending probably, I mean, let's be realistic, if you're spending $5,000 to $10,000 in a weapon, at that point, what's $3,000 for an optic? But for the average hunter, or the average individual, I suppose, I would say that this is the weapon, or sorry, the scope for thermal that I would go with. It does what it's supposed to, and I'm happy with it. It has good battery life. There's not a whole lot I would change about it. The few things that I would change about it would just be a better display, so it has more clarity the farther out you go. That's why, like, the cows look like a big black blob, or a white blob if you have it on white hot. That's why they look like that, because the actual resolution of the screen and the scope can't depict it clearly because it doesn't have enough pixels. But other than that, I mean, you know, 1,000 yards to be able to pick up a heat signature, yeah, it is a large animal, I get that, but that's pretty good. I think that's very good. And I could actually, we have a Great Pyrenees, a livestock dog. He's a big dog, about probably this tall, weighs about 75, 80 pounds. And he was actually out on the, actually, I can show you from here. So you can see there's a house right there. To the left of it, there's our hayfield. And you can see the cows out in the background. Well, you may not be able to on there, but I can see it in real life. But anyways, just to the left of that house, our dog was out there, a Great Pyrenees, and I could see him. Could I identify that he was a Great Pyrenees over a coyote? No, because it wasn't the clarity and crispness of the image just isn't quite there, unless you're less than 450, 500 yards. It's just not there. But again, the water bottle at 450 yards, I could see it. Was it a perfect, you know, outline of a water bottle? No, but I could identify the water bottle, and I knew it was there because I placed it there. And if I wasn't the one that placed it there, no, I wouldn't be able to be saying, hey, yeah, that's a water bottle, or that's a Mountain Dew bottle. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. So this clip, same scope, same everything. This clip is just to show you, these are calves, and these calves are actually a little over 1,100 yards away. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera. Unfortunately, I'm recording the scope through a camera to show you these. So I don't know if it's going to actually show on there. It is picking up the heat signature. It is faint, but I can see it if I was, you know, if you're looking through the naked eye, through the lens instead of through a camera, you can pick up the heat signatures and you can see that there's an animal there. It isn't as, you know, you're not gonna be able to tell. The only reason I know these are calves is because these are our neighbors, and I know that this is the calves that he has separated for weaning. So these animals here, these are cattle, and they are far, as far as distance goes, they are much farther away than what the sheep were that you just saw. These, by rangefinder, are showing to be anywhere from 700 yards away to 830 yards away. And the best thing I can tell you, like I said, I wish I could give you a much better view. Oops. I wish I could give you a much better view of what the actual scope shows. It does a very good job. This is just, again, to give you an idea of what you're looking at. Like I said before, the display just does not have the resolution to make it a clear image at distances that far away, but the thermal imaging is picking up the body heat from those animals at that far away. So I mean, it's going to tell you or show you that something is out there. I know the footage that I showed you before wasn't really the best, and this is just to give you a better idea of what you're going to see. So the animals you're looking at right now are about 150 to 170 yards away. They are all sheep. They're similar size as far as a coyote. This is just to give you an idea of what they look like. These are all laying down. None of them are standing currently. It is nighttime, so most of them are bedded down. And in the background, I'll get you up there so you can see the trees up there. The tree that we're looking at right now, that tree is actually a lot farther away than the animals. That tree by rangefinder shows that it's 450 yards away. Again, a little bit of contrast for you here. These animals right here, sheep, are 150 to 170 yards away depending on the animal. Wish I could have gave you better footage. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do for you. As you can see, I'm looking out there right now. It's pitch black, can't see anything. This actually looks like this. I mean, day or night, doesn't matter. It is a really good picture as far as what you're looking at. The problem is that, like I mentioned before, the display on the scope is it just doesn't have the resolution that a higher end scope would. But overall, very good scope. I really enjoy it. I like it. It does very well for our farm and allows us to protect our flocks very easily. I can easily distinguish a coyote compared to the sheep, or even a coyote compared to our dogs whenever I look out there. It's obvious the outline of the body is much clearer than what it was with our night vision scope. The night vision scope wasn't bad, but it just didn't do any justice as far as the outline of a body. So I hope this review did help you. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the